Sales objections. We all hear them, we all deal with them, and we've all lost to them. Let's be honest. The biggest problem salespeople have is they hear sales objections. They hear sales objections they're not prepared for. They hear sales objections they don't know how to overcome. They hear sales objections that throw them off. You see, when you talk with a salesperson, typically you can tell the skill set from that salesperson by how well they handle objections. So we're going to go over a couple strategies today on handling objections and really giving you some skills that you can apply immediately. Now, I do teach multiple ways to handle objections, and today is going to be truly simple, and it's going to teach you how to handle them just like an expert. Now, for your respective sales industry, regardless of what you do, I'm sure you hear the same sales objections. There's typically the same 5 or 6 sales objections. They're tied around price, they're tied around value, urgency, ease of use, you name it, right? Timing, maybe that's urgency. There's all these issues that people have that we call sales objections, but they can be bundled down to about 4 or 5 objections. And in your respective industry, you should already know what the top 5, 6 objections you're going to hear. If you don't know those because you're new, ask the person next to you. Ask your sales manager. Ask someone you went to training with. Think of them. They're typically pretty simple to come up. Now, once you've identified your top 5 objections, your job as a sales rep is to solve those objections. And you do this long before your customer appointment. You do this long before you're prospecting or qualifying your leads. You've already solved the most common objections. Because again, let's remember, there's the same common 5 or 6. We will solve those objections ahead of time. If it's price, we find ways to identify higher value. If it's urgency, we learn to create urgency. If it's compatibility, we solve the compatibility issue. Once you identify the 5 most common objections you face, then you work those into your sales pitch. And how you work those into your sales pitch, you create small sound bites, not long, drawn out answers, but small, simple sound bites that can be applied to your sales presentation. If it's a pricing issue, you can learn to drop subtle hints of value throughout your entire sales presentation. You can simply say, this product, if retailed at XYZ, would cost this much. And typically that price is going to be higher than when you're going to offer at the end. If it's a timing issue, you can create urgency by simply saying, last time I sat with the client, I wasn't even sure that we were going to have this product available the next week. You start creating answers to the objections and you implement those in your sales process. And by implementing those into your sales process, you're typically addressing all your prospect objections before they come up. Because let's remember, the best way to handle an objection is to handle it before it comes up. That's how you handle objections like an expert. You handle them before they come up. Now, I didn't give a lot right here, but if you want to learn more about it, just reach out to me. I'd love to work through your objections, talk them through with you, kind of give you some info and some feedback on how you can overcome some of these sales objections. By the way, salespeople, you should embrace receiving objections. When you receive an objection, it's simply a request for more information. That's all it is. Half the objections you hear are what I call smoke screens. They're not really strong enough to stop you, but if you allow them to, it will prevent you from making your sale. When you hear an objection, embrace it. And if you have a repeatable sales process, you'll start to identify where you hear objections most, and you typically can go back and evaluate your sales process and identify how to improve that process. That's what I got for you guys this week on handling sales objections. Don't forget, you're going to hear the same 5 or 6 objections. Solve those objections. Insert the one-liner, the two-liner, the small soundbite in your sales presentation. And remember, the best way to handle objection is to handle it before it comes up. I'm Anthony Garcia. Do me a favor, subscribe to the blog. If you want to get a copy of the Catapulting Commissions book for free, go to catapultingcommissions.com, pick up your free copy there. All right, guys, I'll talk with you soon.